Welcome to Funded Profits Trading. I'm Luke Holmstrom, and today I want to show you two trades that I made $9,500 on. So going at this is my history for the day. $66 up to the $1,428. Those are all scalps that I made the night prior, and then this was at open. The $6,000 one, just a break-even trade, and then $3,200. So let's go into it. So this is my biggest day of 2022 so far. So let's kind of dive into, what I did to get here. So looking at the overall market structure we've been following, this crazy trend channel on US 30 now. So this bearish trend channel, we just keep trading off of these lines. So I've been honestly trading off this for a while now. And, the last couple times it hasn't been too accurate, but it has been pretty close. So let's kind of dig into this whole trend channel thing. So the first trade, I noticed that we kind of formed this triple top up here. We just kept resisting going any further. So I kind of did look at this as, it did break the trend line that I had right here, but it kept trying to get back up, but it just could not. So at this point at open, basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to enter in at 970, but I really didn't get the opportunity to. Once we got to 950, I found a solid entry on the lower time frames that, I actually got an entry, and within seconds, really, it dropped 70 points, 700 pips. So, after this basically just dropped, I already called out the signal, so it was super quick. A lot of people didn't get into it, so I did get another entry on that at 870 for everyone else. But looking at this first entry that I got into, basically what we did right here was I wanted to be covered above, and we basically entered in right on this candle. But I wanted to be entered in at the very tops, so we were covered by that at least. If it comes back and retraces, we'd be fine. And basically, we had some news with, Russia, Ukraine. The war news has been crazy. It's been keeping this super volatile. But also I've been noticing in the mornings we're having a lot of these sell-offs, and then at night it's trying to climb back up. So just from recent action within the market, I kind of had a good feeling that it was time for a sell-off. Also, I had a good entry. So basically what I did was, with my good entry that I had, using different indicators on lower time frames, getting a good short-term entry, helped me push through into profit, and then basically have a way less risk on the trade. So that also did help me commit and go into it. With the second trade at 870 that I basically told everyone else to go into if they were a little bit late, that was just after we retraced, we hit that trend line. Kind of just gave me a little bit of confirmation, so we entered in again. And, a lot of times when we do have these candles, when we have more bearish candles, a lot of times it does like to come up a little bit on that previous candle. As long as we're not engulfing it, I'm fine with it. But a lot of times we will see it come up and then, plummet back down just to give it some extra room. So right here during the trade, this was a point where, I was kind of questioning some things, but one thing that really helped me during this point was we kept, coming back, retracing, just coming back and forth. But the market wasn't moving at all, right? The market's not moving at all, but actually what I saw was there was a little bit of RSI divergence. So basically the RSI was moving upwards, but the market's just staying the same, giving us more room for another flush. So I held until I had my take profit. And I made 3,000 pips, 300 points. So on a 2-lot, I did $6,000 in profit on this trade. And I could have held it a lot longer, as you can see, but I really thought that we were going to come back and retrace a little bit, so I wanted to make sure I secured profits with that trade. And it's never a bad thing to secure profits, especially when you're trading on a setup like this with a 1-to-4 risk-to-reward ratio and 300 points in return. It'd be mental not to at least take some profits right there. So it's totally okay with it. Could have made a lot more profit, but it's totally okay. After we came up, we retraced up here. I was actually looking at a buying position in the 500s, but it just didn't work out. So I waited until we had another sell order. I've been also noticing with this trend channel that we have almost like this other line right here where basically it's been kind of bouncing off, like you can see up here. It's almost like a second layer, right? So with this, I did get some confirmation from that, but also, you know, when we do come up and we roll back over, I kind of like to see these wicks hitting the bottom of the previous leg, basically. So I kind of consider this a leg. The wicks were kind of hitting. They weren't really matching up. They didn't want to push up any further. So I placed another sell order, and right as we also did this, there was some news that came out that basically in front of the White House, they put up fences, and then there was a lot of Putin talk, you know, going over Russia and the Ukraine situation. So a lot of these leaders just started talking, and we had a very volatile trade on this. I did not expect this at all, but we actually had a 50-point gap on the 1 minute time frame. So within two different 1 minute candles, a freaking 50-point gap. That's insane. So after I saw that volatility, I actually closed out my position, and that's where I closed it out right here. And this is just a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio trade almost. So I wanted to get out of that trade entirely just because, there was no more point to being in that trade, especially after I saw that gap. Most gaps are filled up, within a couple hours, or, it's going to happen basically throughout the days without, I would say 3 days. It's almost like nearly impossible not to happen. But a lot of times we do like to fill in those gaps. And since the gap was on a smaller time frame, I thought we'd fill that up a little bit faster. So didn't want to take any chances with that. So those are the two trades that made me $9,500 this week. If you're interested in getting trading setups just like this with high risk reward ratio and a high profit potential, then what you need to do is come over and look into our signals group at Funded Profits Trading. I'm Luke Holmstrom, and I'm signing out.